Welcome to Alaska EdVenture, hosted by Dr. Meinert, Superintendent of the Fairbanks North Star Borough School District. This award-winning podcast is your gateway to the heart of Alaska's educational landscape. In each episode, we'll explore the unique perspectives of guests who are shaping education in the last frontier. Join us on Alaska EdVenture as we share the insights and inspirations found in Alaska's K-12 classrooms.
Welcome to another year of the Alaska EdVenture podcast. I'm host Dr. Luke Meinert, Superintendent of the Fairbanks North Star Borough School District. And today, joining me is a very special guest, one of my bosses, President Melissa Burnett, and she's the president of the local school board here in Fairbanks. Melissa, welcome to the show, and would love for you to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you first off for having me on. I'm super excited to be here. Melissa Burnett, current president of the school board, been on the school board for 3 years now, in control of this guy for 3 years now, and it's actually been quite the adventure. So I'm excited to talk about all the things that we got going on and the start of school.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very fortunate to have Melissa and our other board members that sacrifice a ton to provide direction for the school district. We've had some challenging times here in Fairbanks with budgets and redistricting and some closures of schools that we'll talk about, but a lot of other great things happening within our district as well, and you've been an instrumental part of that. So looking forward to our conversation today and some reflections that you have based on your boardsmanship over the last year.
Yeah, it's it has been it's been a crazy year, I'll say, right? We've been busy. I don't think that there's been a month that we have slowed down this past year, but I think it's been good. And we've got a good board. That's what I have to say about the last year. We have a good board and we did good work. So it's I'm looking forward to this next year because we get to invest and innovate and do all these things now. So it's really going to be a great year. You know, it was a hard year, but it was also a great year.
Yeah.
And I think that now we can expand on that with our new strategic plan.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get too far ahead in terms of like the excitement of this year, because I do think we're poised to do great things this year, let's reflect on some of that board work last year. What were some of the things that the board worked on to help move our district forward?
You know, fortunately for us as a board, we've got a great superintendent.
Thank you.
You always have kept us in the loop of what's going on budgetary wise, and our financial situation. And so that actually played an integral role in how we managed the last year. And so, we were faced with that massive deficit. And so we started things off like we did the custodial vote, which I know was a really hard thing for the community and for some of our staff as well. But, with that savings, we were able to get a good jump on our budget process. So we were able to get that $3 to $3.5 million solidified in the budget going, okay, here's this chunk taken care of. Now, where else can we make some cuts? Of course, that put us into our consolidation process where we did have to close some school buildings. But that was also based because of enrollment, right? Like, we have less kids than we did when we built all these schools. And so we had to kind of look at our footprint and go, okay, how do we right size? How do we make our footprint match what we have? But also, how do we fix a little bit of our budgetary issues with this as well? And so you guys with the administration brought forward the 5 schools. The board went ahead and consolidated 3. So that was another big chunk. And then it put us in a situation where we were able to look at the budget and go, okay, now we've taken care of these 2 really big levers, these 2 really big pieces. Now where do we go from here? Which made that last little piece a little bit easier, though we did see some increase in class sizes, which, was something we didn't want to do, but inevitable considering we have been flat funded and have been facing some really awful situations when it comes to our budget for many, many years. Yeah. So, but we were able to still stave off that huge increase that, there was going to be a 2.5. We were able to knock it down to about 1. So those were kind of the things that we did. And then, at the end there, when we faced like the overrides and the cut of the HB 57 budgetary items, we looked at the budget and we said, okay, you know what? We're going to put faith into our legislators. What did they say? What are they going to do? Well, they said they would override. And so we decided to take a chance on what they said they would do. And so instead of making more cuts in a year where we have already affected students and staff and community members, we decided, let's hold the line. Let's hold the line, and it worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it had been up to $14 million worth of cuts at that point in time.
Yeah.
And so a huge thank you to the legislative members that did initially pass the permanent BSA increase and then voted again to override the governor's veto to ensure that we had that $700 BSA increase for our school district. And you know, you mentioned that long budget process, and typically for our listeners that either aren't in Alaska, because every state has different budget cycles, or people that are in Alaska and don't really understand our school district's budget timeline. Typically, the board doesn't start the budget process until February. And what President Burnett was just explaining, we started that process in November of last year. So we had a really long budget process. It essentially ran from November through July.
Yeah, it was a long budget season.
a lot of work on that. You also have been doing some policy work. So what's that all about?
Yeah. So we actually a couple years ago decided that we were going to take our policy platform and align it to the Alaska Association of School Boards policy platform, which if you look at all the districts across Alaska, that's the policy that they follow. They go through with AASB's policy. And now every policy, of course, it maybe not be exactly the same. Each district does have their own verbiage and stuff like that with it. But we decided to make the platform more accessible and easier for families and community members, and of course, people around the state to access our policies, that we would get in line with this. So we have been involved in a lot of policy work. Right now, we're in Article 6, which is really great. We did cell phone policy, and I think that was a huge one, our electronic device and cell phone policy. Now, we already had one in place, but this kind of expanded on that. And basically what it did was, as you know, made it so that in high school, our students are having those phones in their locker rooms, which is based all off of the studies in the book that came out, which is The Anxious Generation, where we're trying to get ahead of this mental health crisis that is involved when it comes to the social media platforms and being faced with a phone in your pocket or in your hand and up in your face 24/7, 365. And so we came out with that policy, which I am really looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out this year. I'm already hearing really positive feedback from our principals in our schools. And so I think that's going to be one policy that really takes us far.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And thank you to the staff members out there that are also adjusting to this policy and enforcing it and ensuring that it's happening within our schools. I do think it's going to be a great positive change. This is in the direction of the State Board of Education really wanted to see school districts and school boards enact new policies, and then HB 57 also required a change for school districts. And so our board was ahead of that process and had some great discussions with the board and the community in enacting that new policy for the school year.
I think that was my favorite part, that we were actually in the process of doing this and working on it before it even became a thing in HB 57. And I went, oh, this is fantastic. So it wasn't even something we had to like course correct and do. We were already on that path.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. We were ahead of the game, I think, which is great. So I do want to talk about some of the successes. We've talked a little bit about some of the challenges the board has faced. And one of the things that, as a superintendent, working with the board, we collaboratively create goals each year and measure those goals. I'm a big data person, as is President Burnett, and they love seeing the different ways that we're either facing our challenges and creating solutions to, or, you know, sometimes there's just challenges and we're gathering the data to figure out what to do next. But last year we created 3 main goals. One was family engagement, another one was growth for all, and one was literacy. And we showed great growth over all 3 of those goals. Literacy, this is the 3rd year in a row that we've had a literacy goal that went along with the Alaska Reads Act that was enacted a couple years ago and went into place 2 school years ago now. And each year that's been in place, along with the new way that we're teaching reading and providing interventions for students, we've improved student achievement quite considerably, both on MClass, which is a reading fluency assessment, and NWE MAP, which measures more comprehension for our students. And so last year, we saw another 3% growth across our student body for reading proficiency, which I think is
phenomenal.
Absolutely phenomenal. So a huge thank you to our teachers, our principals, our teaching and learning team that are doing that work day in and day out. We know that there's challenges in schools, but we're seeing amazing growth in literacy, and we know those data points tied to individual students that make a difference in their lives as they go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big shout out to our teachers too, who are like really taking this by the hold and really owning it, this whole literacy thing. Teachers like Allison Curry, who are developing their own way of teaching the Alaska Reads Act, like she's doing the You Fly thing.
Yep.
And it really is helping. And that's probably one of my favorite things of this year is just seeing this work, seeing the growth, and it really blows out that iteration when people say things like, well, our schools aren't teaching our kids to read. Our schools are not doing so well. Actually, they are, and let us show you this increase. It's phenomenal. And my favorite part is just when you bring in Dr. Ott and you bring in all of this data to us where we can see the things that we're implementing in process.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the board just last week heard a great update from Mr. Ellis, who's our senior research analyst here in the district. And he was talking about GPA graduation rates and successes within college. And one of the main takeaways from that is Fairbanks students, on average, graduate at a higher rate than students across the country. And a lot of times, there's criticisms of Alaska schools, but to see that hard data that shows that our students are going out to colleges and succeeding at a better rate than students across the country is great, because that's ultimately, we want our students to be successful when they leave high school. And part of that presentation, sorry, Dr. Ott, I'm giving away your presentation, but I recommend people go back and listen to it.
Yes.
There's many indicators of success. It's not just college graduation. He talked about that and the way that we're doing great things, but also our students, some students are entering the workforce. They're doing great things. Some students are entering the military and doing all sorts of things when they exit our schools and being successful within our communities.
Yeah, no, and it was just refreshing to see that too, right? It's that assurance that we are doing something right here. And on top of that, having higher graduation rates this past year, I mean, that was amazing too. So not only are we graduating more kids, but we're sending them off to either trades or to college, and they're actually being successful in that journey.
Yep.
And so it's just a really positive thing as a board member and as the president of the school board to be able to look at that and go, man, this is just really reassuring that the work we're doing is really serving a good purpose.
Absolutely. And that's why we continue to celebrate the successes and bring that back. We know people are sacrificing a tremendous amount to ensure that our students are successful. And it was great to see that graduation rate increase again this year and reach an all-time high. I mean, that's amazing. Setting a new bar for our students.
It's something that I like to talk about a lot out there when people, corner me about board stuff or about school district stuff. I'm like, we actually have set the highest graduation rate this past year that we have had in years.
In 20 years.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yep.
It just shows you. I mean, I know we've spent this whole program so far just thanking our educators, but like really the kudos goes to them because they're the ones in the classroom teaching these students, implementing the things that the board puts in the process that you bring forward to the board that we implement. And it's them, they're the ones that are putting this into action and putting it into play with our students, and to see that our students are taking on to it and they're achieving their goals and they're growing in their literacy rates. We're even seeing increases in math and others, subject areas. And so it's been one of my favorite things this year, honestly, to just see the the growth that our district has been going through.
Absolutely. The other goal, and we won't talk about all of them, but I did want to talk about family engagement because I know that's near and dear to your heart.
Yes.
One of the things we implemented this last year was a new communications platform called Parent Square. Coming out of COVID, I heard a lot of feedback from parents that they were completely overwhelmed by the number of applications and websites and different things that our educators were using to try to communicate with families. And so our answer to that was Parent Square. We're encouraging all of our schools to use that as the primary means of communications with families. It's two-way communications. It's great. They can send messages out and our parents can send messages back to the school and their teachers. And so we had a great implementation of that. Prior to implementing Parent Square, there were a number of families that were unreachable. We just didn't have updated contact information from them. And at the end of the school year, 99% of our families had updated information within our platform so that we could contact them on a regular basis.
Yeah, that family engagement is huge for me. Big proponent of just making sure that our families are involved, that our families have communication and direct contact with us, that we are serving their needs because their students are the ones we are tending to. When I remember precisely when Parent Square went live, I loaded it up so fast. I had all I was like, I got to do this thing and check it out. And I remember sending a message to you and saying, this is going to be awesome. The way it just simplified, and the teachers can also utilize it and communicate with the whole class. But when you communicate back, you communicate just with the teacher. That way, the teacher has the easeability of communicating with everybody he needs to, but also having that one-on-one communication with you, but then also allows you to have the interaction back with your teacher to make sure that everything's good in class, that, your student is achieving what they should be achieving. Or maybe you're just trying to find out, hey, do you need some extra crayons in your class? Or do you need some paper? Is there something I can provide to you? Can I come volunteer for a day? So it really made that communication piece easier. And I really like how we have, because of you, opened up these lines of communication. I think it's a real big strength. That family engagement, you have really opened your doors. You have really opened up your heart to our families and said, hey, yes, I am in charge of the district, but I'm also an educator. I'm also a parent. So I want to know, I want to be there for you. And you've really given the district open arms is what you've given. And it really is this, I spoke a lot when I ran for school board, right? Because we're elected officials. When I ran for school board, I talked a lot about bridging that trust back. And I really, truly feel that not just with Parent Square, but your movement in how you have communicated over the last 2 years since you have taken over has been tenfold for our district and our families. And I think that is a testament to that 99% of our families now have accessible communication and we can get a hold of them and give them the information that they need.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you for those kind of words. I mean, it is a big thing for me. As you mentioned, I'm a dad and, I have 2 young children in our elementary schools. And so I know what that connection to the school means and how important it is. One of the biggest predictors of success is having family or guardians engaged in their students' educational experience. And we want to make sure that we're breaking down as many barriers as we can to ensure that families have what they need to support their students and their children in schools. And I think that one of the things that we haven't talked about is our increased attendance rates as well. And that goes under that family engagement tool. We truly feel like if we're engaging with our families, we know that they're more likely to bring their students to school and encourage them to be there on a regular basis.
Yeah. And I also like how when, we are seeing a problem in attendance with a student, that our administration, you have clued them into how to do it, but they reach out. They make connections with those families like, hey, what's going on? How can we get you back in school? How can we help you and assist you in making this successful? So it's also that we're working with families to make school accessible and to make school something that they want to be a part of. And so, those attendance rates that the very first thing out the gate, you made that a priority. Attendance was going to be your priority. How do we fix getting our kids into school? And we have seen that growth. And we have seen those students start to come back and those students be in more often. And I really, truly, it's that family engagement, that communication, that one-on-one the family is the important piece, and I love that emphasis.
Absolutely, yeah, and still some room for growth there,
Of course.
but we're really excited about the trajectory of that attendance, and hopefully we'll break a new record this year in terms of our success rate. So, okay, I was holding you back in terms of your excitement for this year.
Oh, okay, I know.
Reflected on last year, and you just wanted to jump right in. So
I'm just excited.
I know, I am too. It's the beginning of the year vibes. We're excited for a new school year. So what are you most excited for and looking forward to this school year?
I have to be honest, I am really excited for our strategic plan. And I know that might sound crazy, but this strategic plan was put in place by our community.
Yes.
Again, we could have always maybe, expanded it more somehow, but I really am proud of the work that we did. It started when Mrs. Hardy was running as the president of the board, and she led us into the first year of it, and then me taking over into the second year of it. And we have formulated this path, is what this is. It's this trajectory for the next 5 years that we can follow. And what I'm really excited about is these pillars, because these pillars we get to attach to achievable milestones and goals. And so those moving targets and those moving goals is something I'm really looking forward to doing, because like you, I'm such a geek when it comes to the data and how this all works. And to be able to partner with our community, which is my favorite pillar, that partnering with our community, I'm so excited for the innovation and investments that we could make that comes with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you said it great. It was a year-long process, and the work isn't finished with the strategic plan.
No.
It's just actually started. And so if you felt like you didn't get to be involved as much in the creation of the plan, don't worry. It's still a work in progress. There's a lot of different initiatives that we will have under each pillar that people can invest in and help us create great solutions to move forward. So this is kind of the one pager of the strategic plan. You'll see this up in all of our classrooms and our schools around the community. So wanted you to be familiar. If you see this, what the graphic looks like, you can go up and check it out, read it. There's a QR code that'll link to our strategic plan page. But did want to read off some of the pillars. So we have 4 main pillars. Pillar 1, achieving educational excellence. So always looking at ensuring that our students are achieving what they need to be. Supporting access and choice is Pillar 2. Pillar 3 is partnering with our community, which you mentioned. And then Pillar 4, investing in our people, because we know we need to have a strong workforce in order to create programs and opportunities for our students.
That one's going to be a fun pillar too, focusing more on CTE. And, when we talk about partnering with our community and investing in our people, it makes me excited. And this is something I talk a lot about right now. I would really love to see our schools, take on things like STEAM, but like, how do we make each school focus on an area, tie that to a CTE program and pathway, and expand on that? Like, these are things that this strategic plan allows us to do. And I know I probably got ahead of you with an idea there, but like, those are things in my head where I go with it, like, wow, the ideas that just come to me that, man, we could do this, we can do that. It's really going to be a great 5 years with this strategic plan. I really feel it. And I when I talk about it, I get goosebumps, because it really was put in place by our community. And I don't really think there's anything better than that.
I would agree. And I think you named a couple things under that access and choice pillar, and some of the work that we'll be doing with our elementary school communities this year. Goes into focus schools, branding of our elementary schools. What do they want to do that sets them apart from other schools? And let's ensure that our families and our community and our neighborhoods understand what's available at each of our neighborhood schools. Our neighborhood schools are absolutely amazing. And I think sometimes they're the best kept secret, because they don't know all the things that are like happening in those schools. And so this year we really are going to take advantage of working with those school communities ways to ensure that they're telling their stories and we're branding them in a way that people understand what they have to offer, because each of our elementary schools are very unique and they're doing great things for our students.
Well, even as a board member, you think you know your schools, and then you find out one more great thing that they're doing. It just blows my mind. I just made a visit to F.E. Cochran where I learned about this camping trip that they do, where they pack out everything and they go on this, it's like just a couple days, but it's the students, it's taking a part of Alaska and living it. Yep. And that's just one thing that one school is doing. And each school is something different, whether it's a music lean or art lean. And so, that access to and choice, just all of it. This is just going to be a really exciting year for innovating and investing and trying to give back to our students in our schools, in our community. After the last 3 years where our budget kind of gotten to a place where we weren't really left with being able to do those things. And so we've gotten thankful for the board who has worked so hard to do the hard cuts so that we can get to a place where, even though we're still going to have some funding things come up, we can now focus forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's a level of stability, and I know that's easy for me to say because we just closed some schools. We did a major redistricting of our elementary boundaries. But that is going well, and that helps us set the stage for what comes next. We knew we were a bit overextended in terms of the square footage that we had. We were facing major challenges in staffing all of the schools that we had. And so now being able to have a year, which will be my first year that we haven't had to deal with school closures. We can focus on some of these other things and innovating and putting into place some of the things that our families are hoping and wanting for their students.
I get asked that all the time too. Is there going to be more school closures? I'm like, we are focusing on innovation. That's what we're doing. Let's focus on how we can bring some positives to our district. And I really think we're set up for some big success. I agree with you. I think that we do have some stability as well. And I think that we now have a path forward with the strategic plan that also allows you to tap into your what you're great at, your expertise. There we go. Sorry. I was looking for the word.
I was going to put the word in your mouth, but
But your expertise, and you were named the technology leader of the year and back in 2020. And so it gives you a chance to expand on that, which I look forward to as well.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I come from a creative background, and I think it's going to open up the capacity within me and my team and teammates throughout the district to do this work. I want to talk a little bit. We talked about increased graduation rates, and some of that is due to the alternative programs and options we have within the district. And there's been some changes with BEST. There's been some changes at Star of the North. Would you be willing to talk about those for the school year?
Yeah, absolutely. So, part of the process last year was one thing we were faced with was Star of the North. Their lease was coming up. And
what is Star of the North?
Star of the North is a program. I would hesitate to call it a high school, but it's a high school program for students who they just need something a little extra. And what this program does is it offers that. It gives them that one-on-one. There is, I want to say, about 60 of them. Yeah,
this year it's down in the 40 range. So you're going to get a lot of individualized attention at this program.
Right. And so, and that's what I love about it is that one-on-one attention. And so it helps those students who need that to make them successful. And we were faced with needing to have a place for them. Well, part of our consolidation process was we decided to shut the doors of Midnight Sun Elementary. But what was great for our community is we were then able to keep the building. So we were able to keep that with us, with our district, but utilize that for Star of the North. And then also invest in a office for BEST for families in North Pole. Because we don't have that option. There's actually no correspondence option in the North Pole area for families. And so this, I always talked about competitiveness. This made us competitive for our BEST program, for families who choose to homeschool. We know that choice is a big thing now. A lot of families choosing the correspondence way, which is amazing. I also choose the correspondence way because of what the program allows. My kids can take a couple classes at the high school as well.
So lots of flexibility. flexibility.
The flexibility is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so having those two options now right there at Midnight Sun. And then we also, with the closure of Two Rivers, we also implemented, which was an ask of that community.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to be able to keep a community center of sorts for education. And so we opened a Best out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we have Two Rivers with a correspondence program. North Pole now has a correspondence program in office and staff available to help those families' needs.
Yep.
And then a bigger area for those students that started north. I was approached by a student. I was at Fred Meyer, which is our grocery store chain for those who aren't from the area. I was at Fred Meyer one day. I had a student actually approach me, and she busted into tears, Mrs. Burnett. And she stopped me, and I turn around, and she goes, Mrs. Burnett, I am so-and-so. And she goes, and I just wanted to tell you with tears in her eyes, how excited that she was. She goes, we have a gym now. Oh. You gave us a gym. I was like, well, the board, did that. But they were excited to have gym space.
Yeah.
Because at their old building, they didn't have that. They had some classrooms, in a building, which is great, but they didn't have the flexibility of having an outlet to go release that energy, which we know can be super important for kids.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really excited. I was able to go to Star of the North on the first day of school. The first week, I tried to get out to all of our schools and then regularly make it a practice to be in our schools at least once a week. But it was fun to see them in their new space. The kids are loving it. The teachers are loving it. Of course. And there is additional room available. And so part of the reason I wanted to talk about it on the podcast is if, the program that you're in isn't working out, if you're in a traditional school and maybe you think you want to try an alternative option and you're a high school student, Star of the North is a great option for you.
It is. And what's really great, for those who don't know this, if you go to Star of the North and you graduate, you get a fancy quilt at the end of the year.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's done by some great ladies who spend the whole year making them. And so it's just really cool. It's a really cool program. I've had a couple of really close friends of mine with students who have graduated from there. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you that program is responsible for their success. Yeah, and absolutely. So it's amazing. And I'm glad that we were able to give them a space where they can also have a library and a gym and all the things that students should have access to.
No, absolutely. Our schools are open for enrollment all year long. Sometimes we get those questions like, what's the last day we can enroll? And so all the time, we're a community-driven public school district, and we want to be there for the community. And we take, it's a great honor to serve the students of our community. So really excited about that. A couple other things I wanted to mention that we're focusing on this school year. One, at the secondary level, we're focusing on classroom management behaviors. We've partnered with Safe and Civil Schools. It's something that actually goes back almost 20 years in the district. There's been different iterations of this, but as student behaviors change, we want to make sure that we're equipping our educators to manage those student behaviors. And so they've asked for additional training, additional structures and systems to be put in place to help with managing student behaviors. And so that's something that we're really excited about. Our high school teachers did 2 days of training at the beginning of the year. Our middle school teachers will be doing 2 days of training during our September in-services. And so some positive changes happening on that front to making sure that we're proactively and positively managing student behaviors within our schools.
Yeah, that's absolutely important. And I go back to our cell phone policy, and I think that this is a huge portion of helping with this. Exactly. Yep. So you take the phone out of the hand and you might see some improvement on behavior.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other one goes under that access and choice and kind of the innovation conversation. We've had a working group that's been working for almost 2 years on a potential Hutch redesign. Yeah. And so they're continuing that work this year and looking at different models from around the country to ensure that we can offer the very best career and technical education opportunities for our students here in Fairbanks. We want to ensure that students that are interested in specific pathways actually have access to those pathways. And so we'll see what that working group, continues to do and the recommendations that they bring forward. But that might be something that the board acts on this year as well.
Yeah, I actually am looking forward to that. That's been something that's kind of been on my radar for a while now, and I knew it would be coming forward. And I look forward to the ways that we can innovate with Hutchinson High School and what we can do to, when I went to school, I had a VOTEC program, and I would love to see that VOTEC program back reinstated like it used to be and giving that access, because then you have that core CTE program right there. We're sending them off with actually certifications and being able to go into the workforce if they want to, or, the higher education portion of that career field, that maybe that's where they go with it. Either way, it's a branch. And, when people think of Hutch, they think CTE, but what they also don't realize is some of these CTE programs have the higher education through UAF that go with them. And so I really am looking forward to that. And I hope that is something that the board gets to act on, because it's all about innovation and investment. And it's so excited for that, Dr. Meinert. I'm so excited.
And we're going to do an upcoming podcast this fall about our CTE pathways in the district. And I won't give a spoiler away, but we do have one of the certifications in the state that we are the only high school in the state that has this specific certification. So you're going to need to tune in to that episode to listen to all the details on that, because it is really exciting for our students here in the Fairbanks area to have that option. So,
absolutely.
All right. Well, we're coming to a close. Anything else that you're excited about or want to talk about as we bring this to an end?
I just honestly am so excited for our families out there for this school year. I know that we went through a real big consolidation process and redistricting. So I know that there is a lot of students in a lot of new schools this year. And so I just really want to say, to those families that, one, it's going to be okay. We've got great schools. Like you said earlier, it's probably our best kept secret is that we have some really great schools and we have really great staff, really amazing educators and teachers out there who are really fully embracing every part of this. And I just look forward to the new friendships, the new communities that are built with this, and charging forward on this strategic plan and really, really just embracing our community. So I just wish everybody a fantastic school year. And please know the board, we're here. Anything you ever need, you've got comments or concerns, please reach out. The board is here. We love hearing from our community and we love hearing the good things too. Are there good things happening in your schools? Let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know. Cause I'm always looking to feature them not only on the podcast, but through our communications department. We want to share the great things that are happening in our schools. So let us know. And obviously areas for improvement too. We can't improve unless we know areas that we need to improve upon. So that was great. Thank you for the conversation today. Thank you for your service and sacrifices on the board. I think you're amazing at what you do, and it's been an honor to serve alongside you this last 3 years.
Oh, thank you very much. It really has been a pleasure to be a part of this board and to be a part of helping this community. And, we do have an election coming up, so I hope that I get to remain here for the next 3 years. So, but if I don't, I just hope that this community really embraces everything that we're doing. And if I don't make it back, I'll still be around.
For sure. I know you will. You'll be a great part of it.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, this is another episode of the Alaska EdVenture podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.
Yep. Thanks.